Hi everyone, this is College Knowledge with Haruka. I'm glad you're able to join me today. My topic today is personal insight questions for the University of California. If you are a senior or a junior, you are probably well aware that the month of November is the time when students can submit their UC applications. And for many students, the most daunting part of the application process are the personal insight questions, which is what the UCs call the essays. Today, I want to talk about three things. First, what is the purpose of the personal insight questions? Second, how do you pick four out of eight personal insight questions? And then third, what are some tips that can help students write these PIQs? So let's get started. First, I said, what is the purpose of the personal insight questions? Well, if you may have noticed that the UCs don't offer interviews to their students, right? They believe that these PIQs are actually done in lieu of the interviews. So as students, that's how you need to treat them. It is a time when you can show some self advocacy, meaning you have to be a little bit boastful if you're not used to it. Talk about your achievements. You have to share your voice. What is it that makes you unique? Your perspectives. That's what they want to hear. Another thing they need to hear is context. Um, the if there are any family situations or um, socioeconomic situations, uh, you can put that into context. If your high school is unique in one way or another, you can use that as context as well. If there are any gaps in your education, mm, that will be helpful. And you want to be different. How do you do that? And you do that by providing depth. You don't want to just keep it vanilla. Don't tell us like what is Girl Scouts, what is Boy Scouts. They know that. They want to know how it's important to you, right? Uh, Unlike test scores, which aren't even available this year anyway, these are going to be an opportunity for a student to share something that's unique and authentic. And you want to share some of your thinking process. The second thing I want to talk about are how you select the PIQs. So, just as a recap, there are eight personal insight question prompts, and the student is asked to select four of them and respond with a 350 word answer for each. So think of them as four relatively short answer essays. All right. So what are the PIQs? I'm only going to talk about the topics right now because going into each of them is, can be 10, 15 minutes each. But the eight PIQs are on number one, leadership experience. Number two is on creativity, which can be technical or artistic or athletic. Um, Number three is talent or skill that is developed over time. Number four is an educational barrier or opportunity. Number five is overcoming a challenge. Number six is an inspiring academic subject. Number seven is service to school or community. And number eight is any other standout characteristic that may make you a great applicant for the University of California. So it's kind of a freestyle, the last one. How do you pick these eight? How do you pick from these eight? Like I said, so you have to pick four, and the purpose is not to create your whole life story, your autobiography, or anything like that, but rather pick four best snapshots of your high school life that make up your mosaic, right? Um, for activities that are very important to you, and then those can be the ones that you select. All right. Um, which ones are the best? Well, if I had to say, which ones I have a slight preference for, I would say number one, leadership, and number two, academic subject. The reason why I say that is because, well, leadership is something that's valued by the UCs and basically any other student. So if you have examples of being a leader, say you're an officer, you created something that shows a lot of initiative, that's something that you could definitely write about. And then the other one was about the academic subject, because college is, of course, higher education, learning, etc., and it's helpful to share with them um, a little bit about which direction you're going. All right. It's important to have balance, right? Don't write three PIQs. Like ethnicity or your cultural background is a great topic that many, many students write about, whether it's their Chinese, Indian, Japanese heritage, Jewish heritage, anything like that. That's great. But don't write about it for like two or three, maybe two. But, if you can create a balance, that's good. Mm, if you're very, very geeky and you've done nothing else but study, still try to show that you have a little balance and introduce other things that are non-academic, again, so you can have a little bit of personality in those four. That's why they have four. They can be totally discrete. So create that mosaic, and that will be a great way to introduce yourself to the UCs. Finally, I want to talk about some specific tips for writing. And I will add that I got these tips from the UC Counselors Conference. So every year, the UCs have a conference for guidance counselors from the high schools, as well as independent educational counselors like me. And they share, say, the updates to the application or things that have changed in the admissions process. Like this year, they talked a lot about the tests and how they are, whether it's how they are test optional this year and how they're moving towards test blind, things like that. But one of the things that they do say is that the essays are mm, more important, because they are looking at, the PIQs are one of the 13 factors that are definitely um, looked at, right? The test scores are one of the 14 factors that are used in the evaluation process, and that is removed. So now we have to focus on the other 13, and this is definitely a way in which you can show your um, show those 13 factors. But I digress. Let me get back to the 5 tips for writing the PIQs. All right. Number one is to keep it self-centered. And the way you know you're doing this correctly is if you have a lot of I's and me's in the writing. Number two is to focus on the impact. Show any outcomes or show evidence. And impact can be on yourself or on others, other people, the community, things like that, your school. Number three, start with the big picture and go zoom into some very specific details. The very specific details are great because that makes it very unique, right? It becomes your story, not anybody else's. And then number four, show growth, right? How have you changed academically, personally, socially? They want to see that there has been a progression. And number five, oh, this is such a good one. Be clear, concise, and direct. Don't meander, and don't take this as a creative writing project. They don't like things like dialogue. they really like it to be very clear and concise and direct. Mm. So I hope that helps. Today, again, I talked about the purpose of the personal insight questions is to interview the student. And second, the way in which you pick those PIQs is to create your own personal mosaic. And then third, I just shared some specific tips for the PIQs. I hope that helps. And if you'd like to hear more about how to approach the essays, whether it's UCs or for the Common App, you can sign your kids up for the college knowledge webinars in this, which I offer in the summer. So it's a little too late for the seniors right now. But if you have a junior or if you have a sophomore, I offer this for rising seniors in the summertime. Other college knowledge webinars I offer are on college research and college financial literacy. Sometimes those are better for the parents, or the parents may be interested in watching them first if the students are not ready. It all depends. I think they're really flexible because you can watch them anytime, anywhere, and you can repeat if you need, if you needed to get a refresh a year later, things like that. So this is what they look like. You can get them from my website, which is planeteducation.com. If you have questions about today's video on personal insight questions, I encourage you to just write them down in the comment section and I will respond to them. Or if you're interested in any of these videos, I have been converting them into a YouTube channel. So that's the other big news. I've just launched my YouTube channel. It's called Haruka. I'm sorry, it's called College Knowledge with Haruka. So you can also check out that website. Hope that helps. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.